So, it is May. I am finally making a new video. My last video, first ever video, was from January, and a lot has happened, but project-wise, I've been pretty directionless. Honestly, just no commitment to spend my free time on personal projects. So, today is the end of this project. I am going to go over, the project highlights, some thoughts, what's left, and do a little retrospective. First, we're going to go over the project highlights, and to start, just a review of the stack. I built a to-do list app, very, very basic. I came to find out after my original video, this is so common. So many people, for some reason, just have to-do list apps. I'm glad to know that I'm not original at all, at least in this project. The stack is Fast API for the backend, for the endpoints and such. The database was MongoDB, and Next.js was servicing the front end, specifically with ShadCN components. And the deployment wasn't actually deployed, which we'll get into very shortly. I used Vercel first, and Firebase was the second attempt. But that's basically what the project was. And it was a to-do list app. You could create as many to-do lists as you wanted and as many items on the list as you wanted, tick them, and it would be like a true false Boolean value to assign these to done. But all of it would be saved under a user account, managed all in Mongo database. I want to talk about this video I saw recently by BPS Shorts. The goal is to cross the finish line. Even if it's not pretty, that is the thing that I am prioritizing. So what's left? What would be missing? The deployment, for one. The Dockerization is terrible. I started Dockerizing this after building the original product, which I do not recommend. There were so many environment variables and things that I didn't account for when I planned to deploy, and I played around with Vercel. The Fast API backend wasn't very intuitive with Vercel. It prefers Next.js full stack. So I tried Firebase, which is like a Google product, Google Cloud product, but started running into some hurdles with environment variables there. I was not able to get this Dockerized and deployed on either of those platforms. Also, improving the documentation. The documentation sucks. I generated a lot of it with Cursor, and it is not going to get better. So if you're confused by the docs, I was too, multiple times when I would take long breaks and come back to the documentation and be like, how do I launch my app? Like, how is this working again? I was also confused. So good luck to you guys. We'll just move right into the retrospective. First, some thoughts on development decisions. Architecture is extremely important, and this project honestly just puts a giant spotlight to that. How important it is to plan ahead and know the constraints, know the variables, and understand where things might get more difficult. Massive respect to all the architects out there, not just like the people building buildings, but people who are actually planning out work as well. Shout out to you guys. I didn't get this to the point where I could deploy it so that anybody could happen upon this video and want to check it out. And that was tough. That was honestly a huge hurdle in my mind to making this video, is getting it deployed. But this just highlights the importance to planning ahead. Next is deployment hardships. As I've already mentioned with Vercel Firebase, it is very important to understand how these deployment platforms work ahead of time so you can build to those requirements. I didn't, so doing that after the fact, after I built a working app like on localhost, that was difficult to shoehorn it in. A supervisor of mine the other week just said this quote that stuck with me. He said, "I believe in building for production." That stuck with me because on this project, I definitely didn't do that. That was like an afterthought. Even though I planned to do that, at some point I had no idea the path towards getting there, which was the issue. So Dockerizing after building the base application, so many variables that I had to go back and change or try to fix, and it wasn't great. One, because I generated a lot of this code. Vibe coding, we'll get into. Being able to sift through that, figure out how this was organized, just wasted so much of my time in retrospect, the valuable time that I have on a personal project, and I will adjust in the future. But going into vibe coding, as a concept, there is a lot of bad, a lot of ugly stuff, and there is some good, my own opinions, right? But this idea of learning new skills and solidifying concepts without doing this outside of an AI assisted workflow, like building the application, be like, okay, spin me up this, and it won't understand exactly what you're looking for because only you have that up here. And so being able to learn new skills, learn new frameworks, and solidifying those concepts in your brain, being able to speak to them or type to them, build prompts to them, that is very important. Otherwise, that is a bad part of vibe coding. My next bad point is I'm prompting in circles. I'm getting the same answers. This is a very big indicator to me that I do not understand, and I'm not trying to understand like why or where the problem lies. So those are two things. And the last thing is programming is not equivalent to computer science or computer science engineering, software engineering. There is more that meets the eye. This relates to architecture, right? Being able to plan this, design this, that is very, very important to the success of a project, a work project, personal project. Being able to understand that the cursor application won't just like know everything. We talked a lot about the bad, the good. AI assisted programming is the worst it will ever be right now. I very much believe this. I think that AI assistants will continue to grow and get better. I think this is just the beginning, and being able to understand that and adapt is important, but also just learn. It's not good to shelf learning to use AI. A lot of controversy, with AI. With programming specifically, a lot of what we do is based on the people around us, based on the Stack Overflow articles, the GitHub repos, all of these giants that we stand atop the shoulders of. Shout out Isaac Newton. Another thing is conversational assistants. If you've been around software engineering, if you've been around computer science, you understand or have heard of rubber ducking or rubber duck debugging. Basically, the concept is talking to the duck and being able to systematically explain the error or the problem area and isolate that idea. That leads into conversational assistance. With the AI, you're able to do this. Put these words into a chat box, send it over to Cursor or ChatGPT, able to understand what is happening. Like, this is awesome. But again, going back to vibe coding, you can prompt in circles. If you do not take the effort to learn, if I do not take the effort to learn, in circles we go. So my tips for building your AI assisted workflows: number one, learn where to lean lightly on AI. There is a lot of circular thinking, like mentioned. This is a sign of the need for fundamental understanding. Something that's been suggested to me by mentors, managers: play the role of the senior engineer reviewing code, review the logic behind the answers that are returned to you, understand why it is a suggestion and where there are flaws, review those, take the time. Number 2 is know yourself, understanding the limitations in my own experience, knowing what I know and knowing what I don't know. That is one of the most valuable tools that I have seen grow in my career, is understanding where I do not have expertise and being able to admit that, humbling myself and being able to look at these things and be like, I don't think I can figure this out right now. With that said, number 3, kind of related, finding mentors. Phenomenal for my growth. Being able to take the domain knowledge that they have and lead myself through these issues. That is something that I have right now in a lot of capacities, and I'm so grateful to each and every one of the people who give and share their time with me. So I encourage anyone to find and ask people to be your mentors. Bring questions that are running in your mind that you ask yourself that can directly affect your own development and your own career trajectory. I very much encourage that. And just to wrap things up, this personal project is the start of my playground. This is where I'm going to learn. This is where I'm going to try new things. I'm very much a believer in learning by doing, and this is my playground to mess up too. I'm not going to get it right. Sometimes there are things that I will not understand. This is a perfect opportunity to learn and grow and be able to present these hardships, to present these mistakes. That's all for now. I have some thoughts on my next project and what that will be, what that will look like. I won't share any of these ideas right now, but we'll talk about it here soon. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time.